Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and it's time for another Breakfast with Blaha. And today I'm having Greek yogurt, almond butter, and walnuts. All right, let's talk a little bit about nuance here. I get people who, when I make a video and I say that the bench press is a better test of upper body strength than the overhead press, we shouldn't be as obsessed with the overhead press. It's just not as good of a test of strength, and it isn't. It isn't. And the bench press uses more muscle. Bench press builds more muscle. That they didn't take it for me to say that the overhead press is useless and no one should ever do it. Because people can't understand more useful than something else most of the time means that the other is useless. They can't grasp the difference between the nuance. And people seem to struggle with that. And it's frustrating when you communicate because people don't get it. Same thing. Pull-ups versus rows. I made plenty of videos telling you why you should focus more on rows. Okay? They will make you stronger. They add more to your overall strength. Building a strength base that we do on the other big lifts. Which would include the overhead press, by the way, if you really care about it. Just throwing that out there. Because of the upper back component. What do people then hear? Oh, you're saying pull-ups are useless, terrible, stupid exercise. And you're only saying that because you're not doing these right now in your programming. Well, the funny thing is I'll say some of this stuff while still using these things in my programming. You guys see my client vlogs. You see my client vlogs. Some of them do these movements. They're in their programming. People who are paying me to coach them. I clearly don't think these movements are worthless. I mean, that's a hell of an interpretation. So, what do we mean with the rows versus pull-ups? Rows build more upper back. They do. Okay? Make that clear. Rows build more upper back than pull-ups or chin-ups do, or lat pull-downs. They do. It's an undeniable fact. We need that upper back. You want to build a big bench, you better build an upper back. You want a big deadlift, you better have a big upper back. What do we mean by upper back? We mean your whole traps. Rows are phenomenal for traps. A lot of people seem to not understand that. Rows are phenomenal for traps. When we say traps, we're talking the whole thing going all the way down to the middle of your back. It's 3 parts of the trap. We're talking about posterior deltoids, rhomboids. We need these on the bench to build a solid base to bench off of and to create the correct bar path. We need these to be big and strong. Make the same argument for the overhead press. Those muscles affect the overhead press, if you cared about it. Upper back gives you better leverages on the squat when you use a straight bar. Shouldn't be too hard to figure out why upper back matters on a deadlift, particularly for tightness and maintaining a bar path. Now, all that being said, lats still matter. I've had people argue, well, pull-ups build lats better than rows. I don't know that they do. I think they work them different. It's a different angle. Now, that second angle might be real useful for bringing up weak lats because we're hitting 2 vastly different angles. They're not necessary to build massive lats at all. You can do it all with rows. It's just fine. Gaining that last 1%, 2%, having that extra movement in there might be helpful, especially due to the different pull. They build bigger arms. Pull-ups, chin-ups are some of the best arm exercises you can do. Some of the best arm exercises you can do. And I'm not saying other parts of the arm don't get worked with rows. Pull-ups due to the vertical pull are actually better. They actually are. biceps, radial, brachialis, all that. Okay. Arguably even some tricep. Could having slightly better lat development help your big lifts? Of course it will. Bigger arms, could that affect your bench and your deadlift? Yeah, it might. So the pull-up's not useless. It's just less useful overall than rowing. Doesn't make it a garbage exercise. Pull-ups are a great exercise, but we also are prone to shoulder injuries if we focus on pull-ups and not rows on top of it. It's a problem. Look at overhead pressing. All right. Overhead pressing, variety of overhead press. I don't mean just a strict press. I'm talking standing, seated, using different bars, dumbbells, push presses. All right. Overhead pressing still builds the shoulder girdle. Can it help your bench? Yeah. Particularly if you stick 1 inch, 2 inches off the chest. Being strong at overhead pressing can help that. It's actually pretty useful for a raw bencher. All right, overhead pressing will help your bench, potentially, depending on where your weak links are. Not useless, we just need to put more focus on bigger chest pressing. Flat bench, incline, decline, floor presses with different bars, dumbbells, right? They put more size and strength on you. But the overhead pressing as a supplemental lift, sure. And I have plenty of my lifters max on overhead press variations. And you guys remember Doug used to do it. We didn't train the overhead press because Doug just had massive delts and he just was really, really good at incline. So we used incline benching since he was so good at it. He incline benched over 300. While he was a client, I uploaded it for you guys to see. Okay. Of course, he might be coming back soon. But we tested his overhead press and he got like 210. We didn't even train it. But we would still test it because we need different lifts to test for max effort. And with some lifters, if we're going to do double maxes, it's kind of nice to have incline and overhead work for their second max press. Okay. Still useful. It's just not as useful overall as our chest pressing for overall size and strength. Doesn't mean it can't play an important role in your training. It doesn't mean you can't do it every week and have great training programming. It just means it's less important. Okay? But still might be necessary to get elite numbers, depending upon your build and structure and weak links. You see the point here, guys? Because I say one thing is better than another overall and is a more useful tool most of the time, we should put more focus in it, doesn't mean the other stuff sucks. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.